Hey BookTube, this is Friday Reads.
I got my ticket for the long way round.
I'm Jen and I talk about audiobooks, and I have not been around to talk about audiobooks for a couple of weeks, so I thought I'd just kind of catch up with kind of a wrap up of what I've been reading in the very end of December, very beginning of January, and then let you know what I'm reading this weekend. So I'm going to start with a couple of books by Elizabeth Hunter. The first was Building from Ashes. This is book 1 in her Elemental World series. This is a companion series to her Elemental Mysteries series, which is all about vampires. Really interesting take on vampires because they all draw their power from the elements, the 4 elements in the world. So this picks up a side character and then goes with his story, and on audio it is narrated by Dina Perlman. And I liked her a lot for the previous series, but for this series, I don't know. A lot of it is set in Ireland and some of it is in Wales and the UK in general, and I don't know what it was about her Irish accent. It just kind of was off-putting for me. So I listened to it for a little while and then I switched to the ebook, and then I went back and tried to speed it up, thought, oh, I'll give it another try on audio. It just didn't work for me on audio. So I read it as an ebook, and I liked it well enough. I didn't love it. I think it's because I didn't love the characters, because I don't have a really clear picture in my head of what they look like. I don't know, listening is a completely different experience for me, and it really enables me to visualize while I'm listening, and it's just harder for me to do that when I'm reading with my eyes, to picture it in my head. It's not impossible. I mean, gosh, I do that all the time, but still, I don't know, it was a little bit harder for this book. So I gave this one 3 stars. I also read another ebook that she has. It is available on audio, and I forget the narrator. I'll have to put it right here. But it's just a standalone. It's called The Genius and the Muse, and it explores the artists' kind of colony, sort of part of Laguna Beach, California. And I fortunately lived in Southern California for about 5 years, so I'm familiar with the area, and when I talk about visualizing, I could tell where she was. It was a nice story, a nice romance. It's deep enough that calling it cute or nice is really not doing it justice. And I think that's because Elizabeth Hunter writes with a lot of depth. Her characters are very vivid and they're very three-dimensional. So that combined in a short story, it just kind of doesn't, I mean, it kind of makes you think you want to call it cute, but it's not. It's not at all. It's good. It's really good writing. So I enjoyed it and I gave it 3 stars. I read Stars Across Time. This is by Ruby Lionsdrake, and it is narrated on audio by Tara Sands. I really like the narration. I think Tara Sands is a very talented narrator, and I've listened to other things that she's done, and she's kind of in that better than average kind of ranking for me when it comes to narrators. I always know that I'm going to get a decent story if I'm going to listen to it, and she's narrating. This I DNF'd. I gave it 2 stars because I thought it was good, but it has to be good for the right audience. It's about time travel, and basically it's about guys from the future, and in the future women can't have children, and so they kidnap women from the past or from our time. And I don't know, it didn't move fast enough for me. I don't know. I just didn't like it. So I DNF'd it at about, I don't know, probably 40-45%, and yeah, just wasn't for me. So 2 stars. It was well enough written, 2 stars, yeah. Loop by Karen Akins. This is not available on audio, so I read it as an ebook, and it is YA time travel. It's done relatively well. I liked that it set up rules, didn't break those rules really, in terms of time travel. It did get a little convoluted because you had the main character would go back in time, and then she would discover clues left by her future self, who had also gone back in time. So it was kind of confusing because the people in the past had already talked to her by the time she gets back, and she's not future her yet. Yeah, I see what I mean? There's a whole lot of antics that go on, and there's a whole lot of language that is specific to that time period, and a lot of slang, which I don't know if I like that in books. I suppose it's appropriate sometimes, but in YA it tends to just get annoying. And I just didn't like her all that much. I think I would have liked the guy better had she been a more likable person. But there, a lot of times authors will create a character and they want to create a character that's spunky and fun and kind of sarcastic. And there's a fine line between that and overdoing it and just making them unlikable. And in this case, boy, that balance was just off. I don't know. A lot of times what they'll do is they'll try and make that character more sympathetic, but the contrast is just too big. And I think that was happening in this case. This is the first in a series, and it isn't available on audio, like I said, and I don't know that I'll continue with it because I just didn't care that much. 3 stars from me because I thought it was moderately well written, but I don't know if I'm losing my taste for YA or what, but I don't know. Invisibility, this is by David Levithan and Andrea Cremer, and I love his writing. I haven't read everything he's done, but I've read a lot of what he's done, and I really, really like David Levithan as a writer. This was on my TBR shelves. You can tell, I mean, there are so many books back there, and I thought, you know what, that looks good. And I found it on audio. It was narrated by Mandy Siegfried and McLeod Andrews. Well, right there, McLeod Andrews, I'm thinking, yep, I'm in, because he is so good. This is about a boy who is invisible, and nobody knows why. And there is a girl that moves in down the hall from him. This girl down the hallway can see him, and she doesn't know why, and he doesn't know why, and she doesn't know that he's invisible for a long time. So it's kind of the story of how they figure out why he's invisible and if they can do anything about it. This book starts out as a cute contemporary. There is pretty much insta-love going on. It's pretty quick. But it then changes at about the midpoint and kind of goes off into urban fantasy. I wouldn't even call it magical realism. It's straight up urban fantasy. So I didn't expect that, but that was okay because it was still a really good story. So I liked the audio, and I'm glad I own the print book, and it's a good story. So I gave it 4 stars. I read 3 new adult contemporary romances, and 2 were a shock. Can you guess who? Jill Shalvis, of course. So I'll tell you about those first. I read Instant Gratification. This is book 2 in the Wilder series, and it is set in the Pacific Northwest in a ski resort. She has 2 series like this, and they're both set in ski resorts, and so the other one I read is the same kind of thing. But anyway, this one, of all of her books that I've read, I liked this one the least. It is narrated by Karen White, who probably brought it up to the level where I liked it enough. She creates a lot of tension near the end with the relationship, and this was really well done that way, but I just didn't like the characters very much, so I only gave this one 2 stars. That's really rare for me, for Jill Shalvis. The other one I read was her latest book called My Kind of Wonderful, and it is book 2 in the Cedar Ridge series. Again, set in the Pacific Northwest at a ski resort, and this was delightful. And I don't know if I liked it better because I had just read the other one or what, but I really liked it. Again, narrated on audio by Karen White. Thank God she has finally found a narrator that works, who can capture the atmosphere and the tone of the characters so well. It translates so well to audio because of Karen White. And, Jill Shalvis can write guys talking to each other and giving each other crap better than any other writer I think I've ever read. She's just really good at that, and that makes the book all the more enjoyable. This was really, really good. I liked the main characters. I liked the way it played out, and like I say, it's very formulaic, but I really liked this one, and so I gave it 4 stars. The other new adult contemporary book that I read was Simple Man by Lydia Michaels. This was just one of those ebooks, it's not available on audio, that I picked up, and I can't remember how, when, why, if it was free on BookBub or Amazon, or I saw it on Goodreads, I don't know. I can't remember, but it was a cute little story about a guy who is just a basic construction worker, lives in a mobile home, likes to party. He has a sister. Turns out she's been killed in a car accident, and he finds out at her funeral that she had a baby, and now he's the closest relative, so he's inherited the baby, basically. The baby's 2 months old, and so it becomes the romance between this guy and the social worker who comes to kind of check in and see how he's doing with the baby. Really cute story. Cute story, and it's called Simple Man because this guy really isn't a guy with all the trappings. He's just a basic guy. I mean, he has a 9-to-5 job working construction. He doesn't always have a job. He doesn't always have enough money. And, he doesn't live in a really nice place. But, he's just that kind of a guy. But to see him rise to the occasion and really take on the responsibility of this baby was really cute. It didn't take long to read, and it was good. So I gave it 3 stars. And the last book that I absolutely had the pleasure of experiencing was Illuminae by Amie, Kaufman, and Kristoff. This is all over BookTube right now, and with good reason, and everybody is raving about it, and they should be. And let me just add my voice to the clamor about this book, because it's amazing. First, I read the print book, and then I waited about a week, and then I listened to it on audio. On audio, it is narrated by Olivia Taylor Dudley, Lincoln Hopp, and Jonathan McLean. This book is an experience, and I say that it's one experience in print, and it's completely a different experience on audio. I've talked about the book before, so I won't go into that, but suffice it to say that it's told in all kinds of creative ways with, all kinds of stuff going on in the print book. So you really get the feeling that it's a dossier with observations and emails and text messages and an AI talking and creative use of the way things are written to communicate what's happening at the time. So really, really cool experience with regard to the print book. Now the audiobook does the same thing. It's a completely different experience, but it is so cool because you have sound effects and you have a lot of the same kinds of things going on as in the book, but they're communicated so differently. It's so good. It's so good. So 5 stars. Get this book and read it. It's just really a cool book. This weekend, I am listening to Midnight City. This is by J. Barton Mitchell, and it is a reread for me. It is narrated on audio by Kirby Heyborne, and he is fantastic. He's just fantastic. This was a 5-star read for me a while ago. I wanted to see whether or not I still thought it would be a 5-star book. And I have never read the 3rd book in this series, so I thought, I think I'll go back and listen to that, listen to the 2nd book, and just see what I think, and then continue on with the 3rd book. Now, this series really annoys me because they did such a great job with the narration and never did the 3rd book. Blackstone Audio is on my list for that, not in a good way. So anyway, I'm listening to this. It's a dystopian, post-apocalyptic dystopian with a whole lot of stuff going on, but I am enjoying it as much probably as I did the first time. So I'm going to finish this. I'm going to then go on to The Severed Tower, which is book 2 in that series, and I also have that on my iPod. So I will just continue with that, and then I am going to read the 3rd book, which is Valley of Fires. Like I say, Blackstone Audio, shame on you. Why didn't you put this on audio? Because Kirby Heyborne is amazing. Ugh, that annoys me. So that's my weekend. What are you reading this weekend? I always love hearing what you're reading, and it always gives me great ideas. I go look them up on Goodreads, and then a lot of times I'll get new books that I think, ooh, I want to read that. So tell me what you're reading, and let's talk about it. And have a good weekend, and that's it for now from me. I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.
When I'm gone, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. You're gonna miss me by my walk. You're gonna miss me by my talk. Oh, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone.